Hello! We are live once again. Hey guys, what's up? It's BigJackFilms here. Welcome to another live stream. Again, sorry, this one's a little bit late. I've had a lot to do today. A couple things on my end. One, I had to do some stuff downtown, just some business stuff. Second of all, we were shooting elements for part 3. Cannot say what at the moment. But yeah, it's been a busy day, so we have time to make about an 8:45, 9 o'clock hour-long Q&A. Just to talk about any questions you guys have regarding part 2, part 1, the show itself, and so on. So, yeah, just a couple things on that end. A couple of housekeeping things very quickly before we get started. Yes, I know, Raquel Welch passed away. Very sad loss today. I will be having a tribute video out tomorrow or Friday. That will be going out very quick, very brief, because I've just been on the road like crazy. So, that's happening. A little bit of housekeeping on that end. I know I've got some opening nights and some Inuyasha vlogs that are really due right now. But again, our main focus has been part 3, which is just to give you guys a little bit of a preview of what's to come for part 3 without any footage or anything. This is the big one. This is the monster. This is the last 2 parts have been building up to this. In fact, I'm estimating part 3 might end up being 2 hours long. So when you add it all up together, this is as long as, like, the Snyder Cut of Justice League. This is as long as Return of the King. Already it's canon to the Reviewerverse stuff at Channel Awesome and everything. This dwarfs To Boldly Flee. So let's just put it on that end in regards. We're working on a lot of stuff. Just a prime example with part 3. I had spent the last week and a half delivering, I'm not kidding, over 180 visual effects shots, with the estimates so far ranging at about 600. There are a lot of visual effects shots going into this 3rd part, and you will see why. I should also mention, I am suffering from a little bit of a sore throat. I did test for COVID just in case, came out negative. I've never gotten it since this pandemic, knock on wood, hopefully that doesn't happen. But, yeah, we're just here to talk about part 1, part 2, the show itself. And with that, we have a couple of rules we just want to go through. And just very quickly, I want to say hi to everybody in the chat. I want to say hi to Ethan, Sage4, Eric Bauer, James and Sailor Moon Jupiter Fan 2001, Isaac Rocks, good Luke, good to see you guys all here. Lightpost Films, Anthony Sarkis, good to see you all here. So a couple of ground rules, and of course, Osiris the God will manage the stream. Just to get everybody clear up with the rules. Rule number 1, keep the questions on this particular panel on the episode topic and the show. Rule number 2, no requests at this time because we've already got a lot on our plate. Rule number 3, no asking for the same question until you get an answer, and no begging on that end. We don't like beggars. And if you repeat the same question 3 times, it will not be answered. Keep the comments and conversation civil. Enjoy the conversations, enjoy the discussions in the chat, and also have fun. And super chats are always welcome. Your super chats actually really help help our projects get through and get through the month, and also keep the roof over our heads. So any of that is appreciated. So with that said, let's get to just basically what went on with part 2, because part 2, wow, there was a lot to going on in that one, and especially when it comes to its release date yesterday, because as we all know, it was Valentine's Day, and that holiday, not many of us are fans of for particular reasons due to social climates at the moment. But in that regard, I wanted to give something special as sort of a more cleaner homage to my previous Valentine's Day special. So this is definitely the most, not only the funniest of the 3 episodes, but it's also probably the most romantic. I like writing those. You can thank James Cameron for that. I like writing that once in a while. I can write better shit than Stephanie Meyer, that's for sure. Bazing. So let's get to some of the questions, if you guys have any, and we'll go through them. This is an interesting thing about the movie, and I'll let these count a little bit. Did you know the Iron Giant's footsteps in Ready Player One for this and the Polar Express puffing sounds are the same thing? I did not know that. That is very interesting. I like those little Easter egg sound effects you hear in movies. I mean, I know in Ready Player One when they have the big battle scene, when Chucky attacks, I don't know if Brad Dourif came in to do extra recording or they just had archives of his audio. But if he came back to do it, kudos to him coming back for that. All right, let's see. Holy crap, there's a lot of people. Stage 4. I have that golden Batmobile Hot Wheels, and I'm a Hot Wheels collector, so I own many Batmobiles. See, okay, so the Hot Wheels thing was only because, one, I looked at that scene in the movie, and I'm like, that is a total Hot Wheels commercial right there. But then I was doing my research, and it's funny because that Hot Wheels toy with the gorilla on top of the scaffolding and everything, that picture of Josh you see, we took that at Toys R Us like 5 or 6 years ago, and I've just been waiting to show it. So I thought this is the perfect opportunity. I've been holding on this one joke. And I do like the joke because I remember one of the taglines for Hot Wheels was Hot Wheels beat that. I said Hot Wheels fuck that. I'm like, that's great. I'm not a big Hot Wheels guy. I used to be as a little kid who wasn't. But I've grown out of it. I mostly just bought those Hot Wheels just for the joke. Because what's interesting is that there's dollar stores now that sell Hot Wheels cars for like $2 a piece. So I bought a couple of them and just had them in my hand, just did the joke, but they're still in the packaging. But what I'm going to be doing is actually giving them to my nephew, who loves Hot Wheels. So it's going to be his extra little Christmas birthday present for him. So I bought them for the joke, but their double purpose is they're a gift for my nephew. So there's that. Holy crap, we're getting a lot of questions. There's one question coming up I will answer. Hey, Jack, great to see you again. Been a while since I haven't been on your stream, but I am here. And great to see you. Loving the finale. Thank you so much, Luke. I'm glad you all are really enjoying it. It is surprisingly doing very well. Positive receptions. I was surprised. I had my doubts that the story thing was going to work, but people seem to really enjoy the plot, which is the main thing. I'm glad the plot elements of reviews are still alive and well. Okay, this question. Eric Bauer, when can we expect part 3? I am confirming nor denying its release. So basically, because here's what's going to happen going forward. Part 3 is such a monster that I have no release date for it. Basically, this is the equivalent of it's done when it's done. I know in my teaser from a few months ago, I said when it was released, but that was because we thought we could. But it turns out we were wrong. This is a very big, aggressive production fighting against us constantly. So with part 3, the main goal, no promises, keep your expectations on this release extremely low, is the end of March. The backup plan is it's done when it's done, but then here's a problem. It may affect the eventual release of Season 8. What do I mean by that? So Season 8 we want to have out starting in May. However, if Part 3 is slightly delayed due to how much is going on and how much we have to complete, the backup plan is to have Season 8, the finale out, Part 3 out, and then Season 8, what we're going to do, and I think this one might make our jobs a tad bit easier, is that we are going to film a shit ton of episodes of Season 8 from May to August, and we're just going to film a bulk load. So that way, by late August, early September, Season 8 will start, and it will be almost an episode week after week after week after week. I don't know if that's a good plan. Let me know if you guys think that would be a cool idea, because then you would be getting a bunch of episodes all in one go. But it's more just depending on the timing of Part 3, because Part 3 is a monster. We're still shooting it. We actually shot a scene today, and we're shooting more tomorrow, and then we're waiting in a couple weeks to shoot the rest of it. So things are picking up. We are getting there. It's almost there. But right now, our main focus when we're not shooting is delivering visual effects shots, because there is a shit ton. We shot one the other night. We were up till like 4 a.m. shooting this thing because we had to get the shot exactly right. So it's full steam ahead. I'm not sleeping. But I'm here for you guys to entertain you guys as much as I can. So there's that. Let's see here. Ethan Doyle. I only have one question. Was there a plan to use the song Running Up That Hill in any of the episodes for this finale? I don't know that song. No, we have, it's funny because we do write our scripts via playlists. We do write our scripts via music. We have some songs, like we try to use the songs that are more appropriate to the scene. As you know, with the case of part 2, we use Earth Angel, and I'll say this is a little behind the scene fact. Because this production has been going on since 2019, when 2020 and the pandemic hit, we were all locked down figuring out what the hell we were going to do. There was one song that became an iconic song that pretty much summed up the 2020s for me. That's The Weeknd's Blinding Lights. Great fucking track. It's like a lost 80s track, which is why I love it so much. And when I was looking at like assembling Ready Player One with the script, I realized that's a perfect song to go into like an 80s training montage. So we did that. We saved this song specifically for this montage. We do plan to have a few more songs in part 3. Now, one of the things we actually do to avoid copyright problems is that we get cover songs because they're a little bit easier to basically file under the fair use bargain than you would, using the actual track. So we always credit when we do to the artists, but we got some ideas. I will say this, though. I've been tinkering with this idea. At some point, a little spoiler about part 3, we definitely want to make mention to Daikon 4. And for those who know what Daikon 4 is and why it would be relevant to this review, you'll know what I'm talking about. We kind of want to use the song in that. In fact, we've actually thought about doing an intro of our show in the style of Daikon 4, but it wouldn't be the actual theme song going forward. It would still be the same Kaiketsu Zora theme, but we want to do that as sort of one of those style intros, which we want to get back on. We just want to wait for this finale. But in terms of just, yeah, we want to make a total homage to Daikon 4. We just discovered that last year, and we're like, where the fuck has this been the whole time? And because it's pretty much, if you don't know what Daikon 4 is, look it up. DAICON IV, like the as 4, the Roman initials for 4. Basically, the best way I can describe it, it's BigJackFilms the anime series. It's not a series. It's a specially made anime piece, an FMV, but it pretty much sums up the show in Daikon 4. So we do want to discuss that at some. We do want to mention that or pay homage to it in this finale at some point. But yeah, there's that in terms of the music. I'm surprised people really like the music that we did in part 2. Let's see. How do you do, Big Jack Films? Good to see you, Dynamite 2686. Hi, Sean. Good to see you. Holy crap, we're getting a lot of them. So after Ready Player One, will you review any more Steven Spielberg films since you've taken a lot of all the big blockbusters he's made? So that's a good question, Luke. I know, obviously, we're going to get into the Jurassic Park Legacy reviews, and I will say, I think I've mentioned this before, this will be the final 4 chapters of the Legacy reviews. After this, I think I'm done with Jurassic Park. Because you know what? We got more dinosaur movies to talk about. We have 65 to talk about. I'm definitely going to go see that opening night. That's a given because that I was not expecting happening. Wow. A big budget movie that isn't Jurassic Park? Shocking. So we're definitely doing that at some point. But in terms of Spielberg movies, I mean, there's a couple I've considered talking about that are out there. I mean, maybe at some point the Indiana Jones movies. But I've really pretty much covered my favorites that he's done. Everything else is just kind of there. I mean, Close Encounters is okay. I'm more of an E.T. guy. War of the Worlds, probably not. I'm not a big fan of the book, and I'm not a big fan of that movie. That movie just, it kind of missed the mark. I get what Spielberg was trying to do, but, I'm not a big fan of alien invader movies. And yes, I know with all the UFOs going around right now, not my cup of tea, alien invader movies. I mean, look, I might raise a stink here. I hate Independence Day. I hate that movie with a fiery passion. Fuck that movie. If anything, I would like to see more of stuff he's produced. That's a given. A lot of stuff he's produced I want to talk about. Definitely at some point, I have been tinkering with this. I do want to cover The Land Before Time. However, the reason I will not cover it right away is because that is potentially opening Pandora's box. Why is that? Because that means once you review one, the fans will demand that you review them all. And I have no fucking time for that. At all. Maybe a top 10 list in the future. But for now, I just want to stick to the first one if I cover it. Because obviously with the success of the American Tail review, which by the way, Loki guys, Razorblade is doing a review of An American Tail soon. I've already covered it for a Patreon request, but you should guys definitely, when it's released, check out Razorblade's episode. I'm actually really looking forward to it because that is a good Don Bluth movie. But yeah, definitely at some point want to talk about like a lot of stuff he's produced and executive produced. So, you know, Land Before Time. I wouldn't mind talking about his 3 movies that he did for Amblimation. So, because obviously since I covered An American Tail, I would love to cover Five Goes West. I would love to cover We're Back. And I'd love to cover Balto. I'd love to cover those 3. Maybe that would be a collab with Razorblade. Who knows? But at some point, yeah, definitely want to talk about Amblimation. But anything he's like produced. So like even like the first Transformers, I've considered tinkering at some point. But yeah, just stuff like that is more. I think I've pretty much covered the basics of his best. Am I going to cover Lincoln? No. Am I going to cover Warhorse? No. Am I going to cover his historic, more of his like Saving Private Ryan and Schindler's? No. Not touching those. Those aren't really my thing. But okay, now remember, guys, this is not a requested Q&A. This is keep this to the show, but that is the few times I will answer it because it is on the subject of Steven Spielberg. Hey, GTs Reborn, good to see you. Okay, so Orsis After the God has a good question. How was the appearance of Bernard Keir possible? Simple, I asked him. Bernard and I have actually been friends for a while because when I did Kong, I was wanting to look for a music composer because the original cut we had, we templated it with Waterworld, which is my favorite film score, and it's the score that they used a lot in the concept art for Kong 96. It just fits so well. I watched Waterworld the other day, like a couple weeks ago on Laserdisc. It still holds up. It's still a good movie. But I reached out to a few people, and Bernard reached out. He actually reached out. He said, hey, I heard about this Kong project you're doing. I would like to help out. And I said, do you have a resume? And he said, yeah. And he sent me his resume for Prime Survival. And I was like, whoa, wait, that Jurassic Park fan film that I really like. You did the score. And he's like, yeah. So, yeah, him and I decided, yeah, he's going to be my composer for Kong. And we worked on that for a while. Wonderful talent, Bernard Keir. And then he's done a few scores for me for a couple things. Like the Legend review, I could not do the review without Tangerine Dream's score. Unfortunately, it is heavily copyrighted. So I asked Bernard to do a cover of the main tracks of Legend, which we have and we use. In fact, I would love to see an orchestral version of my show's theme song and the themes of it in like an orchestral thing. That would be cool. But with Bernard, on top of that, he also is a guy that works at Universal Studios Florida. So every time I go to Orlando, him and I just hang out, and he just gives me passes to the park, so I can just go in, no sweat. Great guy. And so him and I, you know, we've collaborated a few times. And when I did this Ready Player One thing, and I was like, because here's the thing. It's funny with the behind the scenes stuff, right? Is that the original cameo for that bit talking about the potential of a Ready Player One ride, that was supposed to be James in the script. Now, I reached out to James recently, and unfortunately, he has been a little busy to help out. So I thankfully had that written as a backup plan. So after James couldn't do it, but he did say, hey, I definitely want to work with you more in the future. I asked Bernard, I said, hey, do you want to do it? And he said, yeah, sure. So he filmed that next to the actual time train from Back to the Future Part 3, which is interesting. And I didn't even plan the whole joke about Harley stealing the DeLorean from the park. But at the same time, I'm like, you know what? That's kind of funny. And actually, yes, in terms of what he said about apparently the Simpsons ride is going to close and they're going to replace it with a Pokemon attraction. That has actually been kind of the case. I'm hearing that because the thing is the Simpsons ride is going to be, they're paying royalties to Disney a lot, and they don't want to do that anymore. So they're going to pretty much, from what I've heard, demolish the entire structure. The whole Omnimax Dome is just going to go, and they're just going to do a Pokemon attraction. Now, the question is, what type of Pokemon attraction? I have no fucking idea what they're going to be doing. It's obviously going to be an extension of the Super Nintendo world that's going to be in the Epic Adventures. In fact, it makes me wonder if I don't know where Epic Adventures is being built near the park, if it's next door or if it's a way you can bridge around. But if that's the case, that's going to be interesting what they're going to be doing with the Epic universe. If that's going to transition from Pokemon to Super Nintendo world like they do with the Harry Potter stuff, might be interesting. But that's what I've been hearing from some people who kind of work on it, is that it could be a Pokemon attraction, whether it be a ride, whether it be a show, we don't know. But that's been the rumblings because of the success of Super Nintendo World. So there's that. Now let's see here. This is a good one. Okay. Sage 4, since King Kong appeared in the review, I wonder if Optimus Primal is going to appear in this review. I can't say what will happen, but if you watch the storyline elements starting from this season back to the Beast Wars episode, might be a couple of hints. Can't say. Cannot say, unfortunately, what's going to happen in part 3 when it comes to that question. That is a lock and key answer. And of course, maybe involving Mecha Godzilla, hence the monster mecha. Not sure. I see. There's some things. If you guys guess what's going to be in it, I can't say. That's where I have to take J.J. Abrams and put in the mystery box, or in this case, the mystery cup, which is a Maple Leafs cup. No spoilers. This is the one thing I'm like, I want this to be super surprise when everybody see it, because there's stuff in part 3 that's gonna blow your balls off. That's gonna be incredible, and you're gonna be like, I guarantee the audience. My whole point of part 3 is that the audience are gonna just sit there and be like, that is so goddamn cool. Like the cool factor. We're definitely doing that, but doing the cool factor means you have to keep things as a surprise. And there are some big surprises in part 3. Let me assure you, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be a huge thing. I'm like Carl Denham. I'm going to show you the greatest thing your eyes have ever beheld. That kind of makes sense. What are your thoughts on Giga and Jurassic World Dominion? It's okay. I'll have my full thoughts on it when I review Dominion eventually. If you want to see my first thoughts, check out my review from opening night. Dino Mike 2986. Am I the only one who thinks it's a good idea for King Kong's 100th anniversary, New York's Museum of Natural History, to have a life-size replica of a skeleton? I see you're taking from the Joe DeVito book, Kong, King of Skull Island. That'd be a cool idea. I don't know what they're planning for his 90th birthday. In fact, funny enough, I emailed James about that. I said, hey, James, Kong's having his 90th birthday next month. Do you have anything planned? And he said, actually, I didn't. And I don't know, like, that's the thing. Even I don't have anything planned, unfortunately. I just don't have, and it's not the fact that I don't want to. It's the fact that I don't have time. And if anything, the start of season 8 will be my 90th birthday celebration for the 8th Wonder. But again, depending on the release of part 3 is what's going to be happening. Sammy asks, will I do a crossover with Dr. Wolfia? If he knows I exist and he likes me, then of course. If he emailed me, absolutely. Let's see here. Wow, there's a lot of questions here. Will the Dark One be back after the finale? Again, I can't say. I cannot say. But I will say, if anything, the story will continue after season 7. This is not going to be the end of the story. The story will continue. We actually have a plan, believe it or not, from beginning to end of where we want it to go. Because we do take a lot from people like Linkara and all them, where we do follow that continuity of like story elements and all that stuff. And so far, it's been doing pretty good. I'm surprised how attached people are to this plot. Because, you know, this is almost like, for me, this is almost the Big Jack Films movie. And it's been a while since, it's been a decade since I've made a feature. So the fact that it's like, I still got it, I can still pull off a movie-esque story, shows I've got the skills. So there's that. Wow. Let's see here. Great music in part 2. Thank you so much, JT. Yeah, there were some great tracks in part 2. I mean, for those wondering what the tracks were, well, when we go to the 70s, that is Heart's Crazy on You, which came out in late 1976, around the same time Kong 76 was coming out. So it's funny because you hear that song and then you play footage, it actually makes for a perfect FMV. In fact, I've been tempted to make an FMV with that song. I don't know if anybody would be interested in doing that. Do like like sort of like an AMV, like an anime music video, but basically do an FMV of Kong 76 with that song. That'd be kind of cool. Like, I've seen people do that song. What's that song? Knock on Wood, which I only remember from the teaser from the Mr. Magoo movie. They timed that to Kong footage. I think that's still on YouTube. I can't remember, but if somebody can match it with Heart's Crazy on You with 76, that'd be kind of cool. I'd be interested to see how that is, like an FMV competition. In fact, I entered an FMV competition last weekend at Kanji on Twitch. And if you go to Kanji's YouTube channel, which I'll probably link after this video, you can see the AMV in the compilation. I did I entered out of contest because I like doing that, but I did a AMV of Inuyasha with Coldplay's Clocks, which I'm a big Coldplay fan. So you can check that out. It's a really beautiful song, actually. I meant to say Polar Express, Puffing Sounds. Yep. Okay. I also did enjoy you bringing back the Shut Up, Sean. See, that's the thing, Sean. When I wrote that scene with you in it, I knew I had to make a Shut Up, Sean joke. That is just tradition. It's traditional. Although, funny enough, that was originally the cameo you had was supposed to be Indie Fan. Indie Fan wasn't available to do it at the time, so I had to quickly rewrite something else. And I'll say, by the way, guys, kudos to JT as Reborn, who was in the episode as the hologram and during the whole like planning sequence in part 2. Guys, go subscribe to his channel. He just put out an amazing Valentine's Day special for reviewing Batman the Animated Series episode Mad Love. Definitely go check that episode out. His show definitely does tie into our stuff. I would recommend him. Great channel. Please subscribe to JT as Reborn. Great guy. I failed to give him a shout out at the beginning of the episode. I will definitely do that in part 3, hopefully. But this guy is really funny. When he pulls out some good improv, he pulls out some good improv. I love working with improv actors who can provide some extra humor on the set. Are you doing an anniversary on your King Kong fan film? Well, we kind of did a while ago. We did a 1 million subscriber celebration when I hit 1 million. Don't know if I'm ever going to do an anniversary thing on that. I thought about, okay, so here's what I've thought of. A lot of fans keep asking me about the sequel, which is never going to happen. Let's just lay that off the bat. I've said 1 million times, it's not going to happen. But part of me wants to do a King Kong review in the style of the Son of Kong episode I did, the Jackson one, but basically say, what if I did a sequel? How would I do it? And I would do it as a review. I think that'd be kind of interesting. Although I will say is that what we're planning is with Kong reviews going forward is once we hit episode 100, we're going to do a bit of a flip because I'm actually considering this, is that for the 100th episode of the King Kong reviews, I will be going back to the beginning, and I will be revisiting or re-reviewing the first 3 films. So 33, 76, and 05. And why is that? Well, one, honestly, there's more to talk about with these films, which I've tried to extend via other episodes. That has been my way of trying to extend the material I've talked about, is through future episodes. However, I feel like looking back 10 years, that is one of the quality lessers of 10 years ago doing the show, is that, you start to notice the pace is off. You start to notice it's too short. And like at the time it was well received and well accepted, but now times have changed. You definitely have to go do that. I mean, I've done that with King Kong versus Godzilla and King Kong Escapes, but now part of me wants to go back to 33, 76, and 05 and revisit them with fresher eyes, better quality footage, and on top of that, just more to talk about. The most prominent being the Peter Jackson one, because I look back on that review, and I'm going to be honest, guys, I don't like that review. I really don't like that review. I find it is very mean-spirited, unfair, and I was a little too harsh because I was comparing it to the 90s remake of Psycho, which is bullshit. I do want to retcon that mistake and actually give it the positivity it deserves, because honestly, without that film, I wouldn't have become a Kong fan. Let's just be real about that, because, I mean, I was a Peter Jackson fan after Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings was, for me, what inspired me to tell stories. In fact, it inspired me to the story I'm telling now. So I owe a lot to Peter Jackson and his whole team. But then when they did King Kong, I was like, okay, this is interesting. I'm curious how they do the story. But then seeing the detail and how much Kong left an impact, I realized, oh, I'm a fan of this shit now. I love this crap. So it became my favorite film, probably because of Jackson. So part of me does want to go back and revisit those episodes at some point. But wow, that's a question there. I'm very glad Jack finally knows about 65, and the Hammerhead should be given credit for first mention Jack's community post first on YouTube. Yeah, I'm going to recover it. I am going to cover 65 because I'm actually really excited for that film. That actually, I'm really hyped for that. Sorry I'm late. Did you watch Megamind or Norbit? Those are some of my favorite movies. I haven't because I haven't seen them, and I don't have copies of them, unfortunately. However, I do take either Patreon, where you can donate $5 and request me to review it, or I can also accept that via you mail me the movies, and I'll watch them. So there's that. The mailing address is still the same, by the way. Super Godzilla X Vlogs. Hi, I love you, BigJackFilms. You're also a King Kong fan. Other things, thank you so much. Have you read the Carnosaur novels and Jurassic Park novels? I have read the Jurassic Park novels, and they are going to be covered in the Legacy reviews, the first part. I haven't read the Carnosaur novels because I haven't been able to find a copy. Make a whole Land Before Time series into one big video. Make sure some mini reviews. Oh God, no. I'm not doing those hour-long compilations like other people have. I have no time. I'm like Christopher Lee at that point. I physically can't, Peter. I physically can't. So there's that. Wow, we're getting so many people. Hey, Huey2 Moore's here. Huey's anime movie reviews. Guys, big news. I don't know if you guys have heard this, but Huey2 Moore is coming back. He is coming back. He just updated a lot of his tech. He's going to be producing new episodes very soon. Go subscribe to his stuff. Go check out his Patreon. Go help him out however you can, because we want to see him back. We want to see the show come back, because his show, I mean, he, again, predates our stuff, and really started us getting one of the influences of us starting a review show was because of Huey. Yeah, I think, you know what? I think I did see the Clone Wars as your first episode, and then, I mean, obviously my favorite episodes are top 10 dinosaur documentaries, The Legend That Could, and The Mighty Kong, which, by the way, guys, did a superior review. He nailed down why that movie sucks, which, by the way, if you guys have seen my Twitter and my social media, I've been finding VHS copies of that thing like crazy. For me, I guess it's the equivalent of Red Letter Media collecting all the Nuki VHS tapes. So, hey, let's do a little game here, shall we? If you guys have VHS copies of The Mighty Kong that you do not give a shit about, just send them to us via mail. We'll take them. I'd love to have a whole shelf of these things that I can just smash. And that's the reason why I bought those 2 extra copies, because I thought, you know what? This would be a great running gag in future if I just have a collection of these things that I can just use as target practice. And just do a bunch of shit with them, because that'd be fucking funny. Oh, fuck that movie. I'm keeping 1 to play at least, but the rest I'd probably just do what Red Letter Media did with Nuki, which would be hilarious. What about T-Rex Back to the Cretaceous? You know what's funny, Sean? I have seen that. I did see that in IMAX when it came out, and I liked it. It was great. I haven't seen it since because I tried sitting through it, and because of the IMAX lens and how they produced it, very hard to sit through, and the pace is off when it's on home video. So there's that. Hi, Mr. Dino Diego. I love that name. Hello, BigJackFilms. Walking with Jurassic King. I love that name. Great names in this chat. Well, a lot of Dino fans here. Who's going to make a cameo in part 3? Says Henry Markenberg. I'm going to keep that a little bit secret, but if you watch the storyline compilations, you'll probably know who's going to show up and who isn't. But yeah, there's going to be some cameos in part 3. We have a few. In fact, one of them, believe it or not, is a big-time YouTuber local here in Toronto that we've been actually working with lately. We've gotten a freelance job with, and he actually he's up for cameoing. In fact, he cameoed in my Kong movie. So there's that, but he's on board as well to do a cameo. But we got a couple of cameos coming in for part 3. That's what I love about doing these anniversary, these big event specials. You just get to play around with cameos and see who would want to join and who wouldn't, which is great. I'll say this: I love the cameos that Ken Icarus just did recently for his Spyro review, which I really love that. And also, congratulations to him getting 1 million subs. But God. Great set of cameos on that. The fact you got YMS, actually, it's funny because people want Brendan Tenold and I to collab, but the thing is, I don't even think he knows I exist in that regards. Because I know Goji Fan 93 knows I exist because him and I hang out at G-Fest a lot, but at the same time, it's like I've never met the guy personally. I would love to. I mean, he's a Canuck like I am, so him and I would probably get along like fucking, I don't know, pineapple on pizza or, you know, gravy on French fries, I guess. I don't know. But I would love to collaborate with him at some point. I just don't know. It would have to be his call. But, you know, part of me would love to collab with people like YMS and a few other people if I could, because that's what I love about just doing YouTube. I'm just having fun with it. I mean, there's times it can be very stressful and getting releases done, but I'm having fun. And it's a job where I can have fun. I'm just making a lot of really good collabs and making really good connections right now. In fact, okay, I'll say this. Birthday, I went out to Toronto and just had a little fun. And I met a guy who was a stunt coordinator on a couple of big movies shot in Toronto. And him and I are talking. So might have some stunt guys to work with and stuff. We're gaining connections. Like, a lot of people are right now with Canada saying that, oh, everybody's moving to Vancouver because that's like the promised land because Ontario sucks. Ontario does suck, but it is North Hollywood. Like, Toronto is becoming North Hollywood. And, I mean, look, I would not step foot in the film industry. I've done my time a few times on it. It's not that fun. I'd rather hang out with like local groups and like, more independent filmmakers and stuff. But doing YouTube for me is my favorite form of filmmaking. For me, I found my niche. This is the future for me, and I don't mind doing that. So there's that on that card. God, I went on tangent for a while there. Let's see here. Wow, we got a lot of people. Can you do The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe fan made, and how are you going to do it? So, like a remake of Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe? It's funny. I've kind of gone back and looked at the Narnia movies. Like, those still hold up. I don't know why they stopped making those. I know it was a rights issue. But, like, they had a good track record. They were never bad. None of them were, like, I mean, look, maybe Prince Caspian wasn't the best, but it still was entertaining. It's a very bland, like, an entertaining trilogy. It's just entertaining, and I don't know if that's praise enough, but it's just an entertaining set of movies. But Narnia is something I'm thought about also covering at some point, but again, no promises on that. But in terms of how I do it, I have no fucking idea. Question: what's your favorite female cartoon character from Disney that you had a crush on? Oh, we're gonna go here because of the Valentine's Day special and part 2. Okay. Well, Sammy, answer your question. See, no, I can't answer that because I feel like whatever I said, I'm gonna get backlash. It's okay. It's tough. It's very tough. I can say who is a non-Disney but looks like Disney one. That shell from El Dorado. I saw that shit when I was 8 years old, and I'm like, oh, I like these type of girls now. But I will say this. Part of me's thinking about covering it. I don't know why. I saw it when I was in theaters, never saw it again. I've seen clips, I've seen pieces, I've heard about its behind-the-scenes troubles and how it was supposed to be maybe rated R. It sort of followed the Scooby-Doo, James Gunn Scooby-Doo thing, where it was supposed to be more of an adult film, but they butchered it because kids IP. I think it was because Katzenberg came in and said, oh, we want to make it like Disney. Look, I got Elton John. But I watched it again recently. I finally watched it with a friend of mine, who's an amazing cosplayer. She'd never seen it, and she loved it. And she's like, I love this movie because she's actually doing animation. But yeah, it's surprisingly, as an adult, it holds up. And not only does it hold up, it's now more made for adults than it is kids. Like, I would be questioning if I would show this film to kids. Like, the jokes are kind of like any, family-friendly movie where, like, the adult jokes the adults can get, the kid jokes the kids can get, but the adult jokes fly over the kid's head, and then when you realize you're an adult later, you're like, oh, wow, they did that in a kid's movie. But this is the thing with Road to El Dorado. I can't judge if it's a kid's movie or not. Like, it's definitely aimed at kids, but the thematic elements and the tone, it doesn't feel like a kid's movie. I don't know. Part of me wants to cover it someday. Who knows? Maybe that's a Razor Blade crossover. I want to do a crossover, full-on crossover with Razor Blade. But yeah, like, go back and watch that. You realize there was stuff cut because this was not a kid's movie. But there you go. There's your answer, Sammy. I can't say exactly who at the moment. If you see my other talks about Disney, you might guess. But yeah. Let's see. No requests at this time. Yeah. Again, guys, keep the requests very low, please. At this time. I've heard the Pokemon finally ending. Again, Sammy, I don't like Pokemon. I'm going to be honest with you guys. Never grew up with Pokemon. Never got into it. Never saw it. Do not care. I saw the first 3 movies. That was enough for me. Not a Pokemon guy. Let's see here. The world ain't ready for part 3 yet. To quote Bryan Cranston, you're goddamn right. This is going to be an insane finale. I guarantee it, guys. What was it like filming the montage sequence? That's a very good question, Orsis. It was fun because the main thing we actually did on this, which is cool about part 1, 2, and 3, is that we actually storyboarded most of this. We actually, I had the script and it was all good to go, but I felt like I needed to add a little extra element in preparation. So what I did was on each page of the script, I drew storyboards, little sketches on a little pen, and I just drew little squares, and I just drew little sketches of what I wanted the angles to be. So when we got to that montage, I realized I don't have it structured. So what I actually did was I took the best shots from 80s sports montages, and I just kind of picked the best elements as sort of a reference pass. So we knew, okay, this is where we have to talk about, this is where we have to shoot this stuff. There are a couple of recreations of famous shots. Like the beach shots, one of my favorite 80s training montages from Rocky 3. That is a great montage because it just shows the Apollo, who was one of Rocky's original opponents, now becomes his best friend and mentor, and they work together. I love that when enemies join forces and then fight the bigger threat. So to see that, like the whole like beach stuff, people have made jokes about that off the wazoo. I do not give a fuck. It is awesome. But that's one of my favorite training montages. The fights with 18, believe it or not, there's one set of camera angles we shot where it's the shots of like I back up, she's punching me, and then there's like that shot where her leg goes up, which Alana did a great job doing because she actually does do stunt fights and everything. She does do martial arts, so she was actually a good help in teaching me some stuff for real life. So some of those fight scenes, like, it's funny because we were really like improvising mixed with some choreography, but there were times she whacked me in the head a few times. She got me, and it was like, and the thing is, every time she punches me, Alana's the sweetest girl because like she knocked me out, and I would tell her, just hit me. I'm like fucking Cell. I'm like, Vegeta, hit me as hard as you can. She'll hit me and she'll knock me down, and she'll be like, oh my god, are you okay? I'm like, don't worry about it because I don't mind. I need my body to build that. Work through the pain. But shooting that stuff was fun. We actually shot it on Brad's camera, his phone camera, which was a Samsung Galaxy S22. And when I saw the footage in comparison, because it's funny, this is my old phone that I used to use, right? Can't remember what Samsung it is, but I used this for a lot of slow-mo stuff, but then we used Brad's Samsung Galaxy S22. The quality was way better. And then at Christmas, I said, okay, I need to update my phone. So I got a Samsung Galaxy S2 for my stuff as well. So we shot a lot of it on Brad's phone. We shot a lot of it on my stuff. And then on top of that, just adding effects was fun. And we actually knocked out most of the montage stuff in one day. We filmed it a whole afternoon, just traveling back and forth from locations. It was fun to really put together, essentially. But there was a lot of homage to that. But that whole fight with me and 18 in the forest, those three shots where it's like, I back up, then she does the dodge kick, then there's that wide shot of just doing the speed fight. That was actually taken from an episode of Dragon Ball Z where Krillin and 18 are training for the World Martial Arts Tournament before Goku shows up. And so we kind of match that frame for frame as a reference, as a template. And that's something I do like to do. I do like to try to basically kind of take shot for shots from other elements, but also make them different, but just use the same angles and the same tone and pace. It does help in the flow of editing things when you can have like a template or a previs to know what you're doing and what you're talking about. So that's what we did on that. It was fun to do. And then we were actually struggling on which song to use because I wanted to use that. We had different options. We had Gonna Fly Now from Rocky. We had the Montage song from South Park, which was Sean's GTA's Reborn suggestion. We timed it to that. There was a couple of edits that you're probably never going to see because of copyright that use different songs. So there was the Montage song from Team America. There was Gonna Fly Now from Rocky 3. But there was also, we were thinking about using Make a Man Out of You from Mulan because it just matched so well to what we were doing. But that's been overdone. I wanted to use something that hadn't been used, so I thought, okay, well, let's use Blinding Lights because that's like a lost 80s montage song. It was perfect. And I remember there were some stuff that we had to cut because we didn't have time to shoot it. We were originally going to have scenes in a fitness gym that we were going to be training on the treadmills and lifting weights and punching like a boxing bag and shit like that. And we were going to do it because I had a subscription to a gym service. I was actually going to the gym a lot. And then right before we got to shooting, it expired. And I was hoping to get my stuff renewed, but we didn't. So I had to cut it. I had to cut it or match the shots to another scene we could shoot outside. So that's what we ended up doing. And it was fun. Brad just shooting duck hunt stuff was cool because, prior to becoming Obscure Media TV, he did a lot of gaming reviews, which he still wants to do on time to time, but he mostly focuses on Lost Media. But doing that montage scene was really fun. That was really cool to put together. And match it also with like building the machine, like, lifting, the ropes and everything. It's something out of like Dumbo when they're building the tents, essentially. We used a lot of templates on that end. Surprise, to be sure, but a welcome one, yes. Let's see. Holy crap, we're getting this. What month can we expect the Kong reviews to come back? I'll say this. Again, we don't know, depending on the release of Part 3, but I will say the Kong reviews will be the first priority of Season 8. That is going to be the first top gain to happen at Season 8. When you said they used the original King Kong film in the film last episode, the score, okay, the soundtrack in the last episode, I had my mind blown because I didn't realize until you put it. Yeah, Alan Silvestri used the score to Max Steiner, which I really liked. I remember hearing that here. I'm like, oh, that's beautiful. By the way, for anyone who was grossed out about the there's no other way to say it, the hentai face I made after hearing that, I do apologize. I just thought that's a funny joke. Where I do the I think it's called the algiho, I think they call it. You know, you see models do that shit all the time. I had to, but I just knew the best way to follow that up was with a joke of Timon and Pumbaa, which was a carry on from Part 1. That's going to come back in Part 3. I like doing that joke. That is fun. And Timon and Pumbaa are accurate too. It's another callback to when I did my Space Jam review and they showed up in one shot. So there's a lot. What's great about this 10th anniversary special, there's a lot of callbacks to previous episodes. So if you watch the show for the last 10 years, you know the jokes, you know the iconic moments. You'll see them sprinkled all over this three-parter, which is really cool. Don't worry, Jack. I got something planned for College Daddy's birthday. Again, guys, go subscribe to JT is Reborn. On Discord, me and my pals are going to stream the original. Very nice, Eric. Will the Green Goblin Joker be working together Part 3? Cannot say. Cannot say a thing about Part 3. It's very tough to answer questions about Part 3 of what's going to happen. But, I mean, like, all I can answer is stuff about certain characters that are in Part 1 and 2. I can't say what happens later on. I don't want to reveal too much. Nitro to the 9th anniversary. I will maybe check that out. Definitely for sure. Yeah, it's the stop motion. Actually, the stop motion he did. Guys, go check out his Instagram. Go check that out, actually, because that stop motion is actually very impressive. Definitely check out Ernest's The God stop motion on that. Plans for a 100th King Kong review episode. Like I said, Sammy, I'm going to be covering the main 3 films again as a revisit. Will you do a Zorro style? Oh, 1 minute. I can't read that comment for some reason. Okay. Hey, YMF Studios, good to see you. Wow, we're getting like a ton of people. Holy crap. In my opinion, Kong's face in Ready Player One looks more like King Kong Lives. I felt it was more like the King Kong encounter. I feel like because Spielberg was very heavily involved in that attraction. Which, by the way, in terms of Season 8 and what we're talking about with Kong, we are going to go back to the Universal Studios stuff. And I've got a little surprise for that we shot way ahead of time. And you guys are going to flip the fuck out who we got for that. So there's a little secret going on there. Good. No, sorry. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Again, guys, no requests at this time, please. What music will you be putting in Part 3? Okay, so I guess a lot of people have kind of figured out what Part 3 is kind of going for. I will say, okay, music-wise, in terms of, okay, I'll say what we're templating with. We're using a lot of Endgame. We're using a lot of things from Hunt for Red October. We're using a lot of stuff from the Snyder DC movies. We're kind of pitching and toning different scores to kind of match what the visuals and scenes are going to play a part of. But again, I can't say where Part 3 is going to land in terms of just what happens, but music-wise, you can guess from those, I guess, what's going to happen. So we're using stuff from Red October, we're using stuff from Endgame, we're using stuff from even like some of the Disney movies, like we're using some stuff from Beauty and the Beast in there. There is some, and it's funny enough, there's some scenes, I'll say this, there's a scene in Part 3 that uses music from Beauty and the Beast, the Disney film. But it's a joke that's like 10 years old. And why is it 10 years old? In fact, it probably might be older than that. Why is that? Because the footage we're using, this joke, we have saved in the library. I'm not kidding. Like 2011, before my show even started. That's how far back we're going in terms of some of the footage you're going to be seeing. Some of this footage has not been seen for a decade. And the fact I'm finally putting out there is amazing. The footage still holds up. And there is a joke, a 10, 12-year-old joke that I have been savoring for this moment that uses the score to Beauty and the Beast. So there is some stuff happening that we've been savoring this footage. We've been savoring some of the stuff we've been wanting to show. And it's just been so good to finally show it, to finally have it out there, because I've been sitting on this stuff for a while. Ultraman versus Canada. Will the Star Wars prequels reviews be made? And is this the dark one going to be in those? Okay, so in terms of the prequels, this is a good question, Henry. The prequels. So the prequels are going to be the end of the first half of season 8. Our plan is to have them out for December this year. That is going to be the next after Ready Player One. Outside of the other projects we have planned, that is going to be one of the top priorities, is wrapping up the prequels. Since 2019, we've shot the majority of episode 1. We shot a lot of episode 3 last year, and this year we're finishing up episode 3, and we're mostly focused on episode 2. And episode 2, what I love about episode 2 is that it's going to take us to a lot cooler, outlandish places. Where episode 3 is going to get very dark. So it is very much mimicking the prequel trilogy. The first part is going to be really fun, a little dark. Part 2 is going to be more beautiful and lavish and everything, with big action scenes in some cases. And then part 3, episode 3, that's going to be a dark chapter. So yeah, there will be elements of that from this finale that'll play into the Star Wars prequels. I made my own King Kong remake in stop motion. Very nice, Jedi Guardian. Be curious to check that out. What's up, BigJackFilms? Good to see you, Joseph. Hello. Welcome. Hey, sorry, no worries, Inuyasha Dinosaur 101. Good to see you. Thanks for the shout out, of course. Jurassic King. I was actually thinking of making a stop motion Lego. Definitely do it. I love Lego stop motion. Part of me wants to go back and do it. I just haven't had time. Let's see here. Chris, Roxy, made me laugh. Yeah, I'm glad you like that. Again, that was sort of, I didn't know if that joke was going to hold up because it's about a year old now, the Chris Rock slap. But again, I just, I bring up Kubrick, I bring up AI, I forgot about that stupid Chris Rock bot, and then I'm like, you know what? I got to find a way to put the Will Smith in. And then it's funny because it was originally just going to be, keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth. But then I forgot. Oh my God, Will Smith did a sci-fi movie, I, Robot, where he's like, it's the goddamn robots, John. I was like, I have to add that. It just makes it so much more funny because now the scenes in AI match, or the scenes in iRobot match AI. In fact, you can call it AI Robot. There's your movie. I had so much fun editing that. That was fun to put together. Let's see. When are you going to review King Kong? Again, once I hit episode 100 of Kong Reviews is when that's going to happen. What if you made a Let's Talk video about what if you made a sequel? See, it's going to be kind of like that when we get to that review. It's going to be very much in the vein of that. I honestly believe the reviews for 33 and 76 are okay on their own. 05 is the one that needs a re-review since you regard it more like the 96 draft. Yeah, that is the biggest issue. Thoughts on the Mattel new... Okay, so people are asking me about the new Mattel Jurassic World toys that are re-versions of the old Kenner stuff. Look, all the toys I'm sent leaks of, all the toys I see coming out, they're nice, but I can't afford them. Unfortunately. Unless they're gifts, unless they're donations, I'm not buying them. Because toys have just gotten so ridiculously overpriced. And I just can't keep up anymore. Penny Forrester, Bolt, and Macy Lockwood, are better. Okay. Interesting. When is your Phantom Menace coming out? Again, we're planning December for the prequels. Let's see here. Again, guys, let's keep to the rules. Let's not repeat the same question over and over until I say yes. What was the worst thing that you've reviewed so far? Oh, this is complicated. Okay, so if you were to ask me pre-season 4 and 5, I would have said King of the Lost World is still the worst fucking thing I've ever covered. And it still is. And part of me even wants to re-review that piece of shit just to torment myself, to give you guys entertainment. But really, it's tough. It's very tough to say what is the worst thing I've covered. Because I don't do that many bad movies. In fact, some movies that are considered bad, I like. Like Felix the Cat, I like. Space Jam, I like. Legend of Tarzan, I liked. Suicide Squad, I liked. It's hard for me to review bad movies. Even Jurassic Park 3, it's not good, but it's still fun. I think for me, if anything, like the worst next to King of the Lost World, it's probably Dragon Ball Evolution, which was my 100th episode, because I mean, it's bad. It's insultingly bad for personal reasons for me, but outside of that, again, it's not terrible. Like it's like The Room for me. I can sit down and enjoy it and laugh at it. I feel so bad for a lot of people involved in that production because they did go on to do other things, but you could tell this was just they fucked up big time. Wow, 65 has promise Raptors with feathers. In my opinion, King Kong's wow, we're already getting the same repeated questions. Holy crap. Thoughts on 65? Yeah, again, I'm gonna go see it, guys. 65, gonna go see it. Actually, it's gonna be a few months or so before I may finally able to come back. But again, guys, go subscribe to Kiwi 2 more. He's really been like, I'm glad he's finally gonna be getting back on schedule again. But please, guys, go subscribe to him and support his Patreon. Let's see. Well, I will watch the videos I haven't watched on your channel once I'm done with the Critters franchise. PS Jack, don't ask for a Kong and space movie. Horror movies never work. Yeah, and thank you so much, Feather Guardian. If anything, one episode I would recommend that everybody check out right now, outside of the Ready Player One finale, because of the passing today of Raquel Welch, I would recommend checking out my 1 million BC episode. I'm still very proud of that one. That is a good episode. I went back and watched it again because I'm just curious what I talked about when I did. That's one worth watching. Let's see. What do you think is the worst Canadian cartoon show of all time? Ooh, that's a toughie. Oh, there's some bad ones. Not the fact that they're bad, it's that they're boring. Or some of them I can't watch because I just like, why is this a thing? I can't say necessarily bad. Like, Mega Babies was fucking drugs. Freaky Stories was good, but it was fucking weird. A lot of weird stuff in Canada. I liked Yvonne of the Yukon. That was fun. It's hard to say which one's a bad Canadian cartoon. I can't really say off the top of my head. Let's see. It was cool. Bigfoot monster truck appeared in Ready Player One, as well as the DeLorean temperature. The Bigfoot monster truck from that Bigfoot movie? That's what it was? Huh. Interesting. Christine. I can't remember who Christine was. Do you watch Jurassic Park and Disney? Well, yeah. Of course I do. I've done reviews of those. Again, I'm looking forward to 65. This is going to be nothing but 65, 65, 65, 65. I get it. I like the review Huey did on... Yeah, that was a good one. I did like that one that Huey did of Cadillacs and Dinosaurs. It was him and Isaac the Media Hunter. I noticed my fan letter among the papers in part 1, and then the DeLorean appeared. Yeah, it's funny. So, like, we had to get papers of, like, the abandoned dock lab, right? And I didn't want to waste paper. I didn't want to go find trash paper or newspaper. So what I did was, if you guys noticed this, you may not, a lot of those pieces of paper was actually fan mail. I had just before shooting went through all my fan mail that I had saved in a big box, and it was just clutter. A lot of it was collecting clutter. I've read a lot of them. I've read all your letters, and I really appreciate them all. And what I did was I kind of organized it, and I kept the most special ones, and then kind of just had to like pretty much kind of like save space and stuff and kind of like put some in recycling. But hey, it's environmentally friendly. But again, we appreciate all the fan letters you get. In fact, do we have one right now? I feel like we should have one right now. I feel like there's one here. Hang on a sec. Do we have a fan mail close by? Because I think we do. I'm due to read some. In fact, let's make this a mail time right now. Let me just see if I can find it. That's like, hey, folks, here's mail time again. Dear Pig, aren't you retracting from this part of the plot? Well, the answer is yes, Sally. Okay. BRB. Be right back. I'm going to go find this piece of fan mail. Yeah, I'm due to read some fan mail. I gotta get some fan mail here. So while we're at it, we'll might as well just do that, and yeah. So I got this one. I am so sorry I haven't been able to open fan mail lately. We've been kind of dry on it lately. This one is from, actually, we were supposed to open this Christmas Day. I haven't opened this yet, so I am so sorry. This is from our Potterstown pal, who always sends us stuff. Oh God. Yeah, some of this, again, I am so sorry I've not been able to do mail time lately. However, if you guys still want to mail to us, you can send at our address, Big Jack Films, P.O. Box 326, Queensville, Ontario, L0G1R0. We always appreciate gifts, donations, letters, spam mail, questions via mail. But yeah, again, I'm so sorry I have not been able to do it. I've just been so busy. I've been working my ass off. So let's see what our Potterstown friend had sent us. Again, I am so sorry I have not been able to cover these. So we have, okay, that's pretty cool. That's amazing. Oh, and it's a tribute to Jason Dan Frank. We have Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, but it's an actual tiger and an actual dragon. That's actually really cool. In fact, I just found out they're re-releasing Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon in theaters. So if you guys want to go see a really good movie, one of my favorite films, look up screenings and go see it. It is a masterpiece. Definitely go check that out. My favorite of Ang Lee's movies. And then we have a tribute to Kevin Conroy with Batman Mask of the Phantasm with a really nice piece of art here. Wow. Really nice. I will say Mask of the Phantasm is a movie I'm probably going to be covering this year for season 8 because as a tribute to Kevin Conroy, I rewatched it recently. God, it still holds up. Still a great Batman movie. Got a Godzilla King of the Monsters piece of art here, which I always love those. The Godzilla stuff I get is amazing. So we have a Godzilla fan art here. Very well done. Very well done. I love these marker designs. I'm always also looking for fan art of my show, of course. If you guys want to send those in. And then we have a little comic book. Oh! Okay! This is a Big Jack Films comic. Holy shit! Oh my god. Okay, let's see what this says here. Stone's in Trouble by okay, so this is great. Wow, I'm keeping this one. Okay, so this is a comic of Ratchet Von Stone, which is a character I play. So let's see what it says here. Stone in Trouble. Send this test to patient 92 for more information on the King's Gauntlet. Sorry to keep you. It's like this. It's one of the metahuman guards. Sorry to keep you prisoner, Jack. Sir, what? Why were there 2 papers? 2? Gas? Oh. King Ape can ape. I love this. What a great little comic. This is adorable. I can't read the whole thing because again my throat's kind of fucked up. But as you can see, that is great. That is amazing. There's me as like I look like something out of a Marvel comic. Oh, I'm pinning this up on the fan art wall. This is great. Look at that. That's hilarious. I love that. I'm holding on to that one. And then there's a The Thing fan art. Again, the person who sends us this really great artwork, honestly. Again, just thank you so much. We always appreciate the fan art and everything we get. But of course, you guys want to send us fan art. Again, our address is Big Jack Films, P.O. Box 326, Queensville, Ontario, L0G1R0. Always appreciate that stuff. But again, thank you so much. I was due to do some of that, so we're going to carry on. I know, yeah, so we did that one. Yeah, we wanted to use Back to the Future at the end. Hey, but thoughts on the new series, Legend of Dinosaur War? I have not seen it. Hello, I am returning. Good to see you, Star Master. Hey, Daikaiju Legends the Dude. Oh, wow. We got a lot of people coming in. Miley Cyrus is Penny. Okay. Do not care about Miley Cyrus. That'd be interesting if you get to that point. God, wow. We're getting a lot of that stuff. I changed the title. Yeah, we're getting a lot of pitches. Pitches are always cool. Would you like to be a part of my film podcast show on my channel someday in the future as a guest? I'm doing a Godzilla film podcast show. I might do a Gamer comment I found. I mean, yeah, if you want a special guest, I'm open to I'm open to interviews and stuff like that. Definitely for sure. Just make sure, yeah, pitch me sort of a presentation, everything. I always like to see get impressed by what I work with. So there's that. Wow, there's a lot of stuff here. Holy crap. Okay, so we're going to have to actually kind of call this out soon because we're running out of time, and I actually have to rest my throat. It's still sore. Don't know what that is. Let's keep the questions. I'm going to answer the last few questions regards to the show and regards to Ready Player One. So there's this one, Daikaiju, the dude says, here's a question. Do you have a favorite King Kong theme or a piece of music from the franchise? I like the stuff from 33 and I like the stuff from 76. The Peter Jackson one's good, but it feels very generic, unfortunately. It doesn't, I feel like, because Howard Shore was supposed to do the score and he dropped out at the 11th hour, so James came in, is how I feel about the score, I guess, in a way. Let's see here. I've been writing essays for future project. One of them was an essay film about films from 2004. Got me thinking, what are your thoughts on some of the most notable films of 2004? 2004 was a very forgetful year for me. I can't remember fuck all what came out that year. Didn't Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban come out in 2004? I can't remember. I can't remember what really came out that year. That was a pretty boring year for movies, I think. Because think about it too, like after Lord of the Rings, nobody was seeing movies much now after that. My God. I've already said I'm excited for 65. I'm excited. Am I gonna review robots? Okay, so again, I know I made a rule about no requests. No requests. That is one of the rules. However, thought about talking about that movie. I'll just say that. Again, I'm not going to be answering request episodes at this time or I'm also going to make a rule about pitches because pitches are just, it's kind of attention seeking. I'm not going to lie. Sorry, I'm late. Question. How many Guillermo del Toro movies have you seen? Can I be real with you? I haven't seen any of them. Shape of Water I've seen mostly. I've seen most of Pacific Rim, but I haven't watched them fully. Any plans for reviews in October? Depends on this finale. Wow. A lot of people here. Okay, this is a good question. How did you meet Jake during King Kong, who played Carl Denham? So, funny enough, Jake and I go back to, we used to go to the same summer camp together. And when we went there, he fucking hated me. He actually wanted to kill me on several occasions. We didn't really become friends until high school. When we realized we were in the same class, we were both like, oh, fuck. But then eventually, we kind of just got along. We realized, we weren't as different as we thought we were. And him and I became really good friends. And when I did my movie, I just, hey, you want to be the bad guy? And he's like, fuck yeah, I'll be the bad guy. And he was great. He was fantastic. Very dedicated to the role. Very dedicated to it all. Really appreciate him coming in. In fact, I found out he's going to be moving up north further soon. So we probably won't be seeing him for a while. Part of me wanted to get him on this finale as a cameo, but he just hasn't had time. But kudos to him. Kudos to him that he's actually doing really well. Let's see. Again, that's requests. No requests. No requests at this time, please. Good Lord. A lot of people. I've already been through all these. What the hell? Okay, all right, so I'm going to scroll down a bit because we got like a shit ton. I can't answer them all. I've tried to answer. I was like, I can't. Okay, so I'm going to answer a few more questions here, and then I think I'm going to call it a day. Isaac Brook, is Nostalgia Critic going to be in part 3? That remains to be seen. I don't know. Even I don't know. I have no idea. I was lucky enough to get him on part 2. But I don't know about part 3, so let's see what happens. Let's see here. I can't wait for the funny jokes. For more from part 3, absolutely. There's more jokes coming. There's some great humor coming in for part 3. GTS Reborn, I'm excited for part 3. It's going to be awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you, Ernest, for keeping that in mind. Jason from part 3 in that scene looked like he didn't know where he was. I think that's the point. Because half the time Jason's like, I don't know where the fuck I am. So I thought it was funny. I just stick him in Universal Studios. He got there early for Halloween Horror Nights. That's funny. That was like kind of it's funny because Bernard sent me that footage and I told him, can you send me a background play of the park and a blue sky? So I was able to add that stuff in. My God. There's a lot of requests. Like I said, no requests at this time. Hi, great man. Good to see you. I'm so ready to watch Ready Player One Part 2. Yeah, enjoy Ike Studios. I think you're gonna really like Part 2. I'm glad a lot of people like Part 2. Let's see. Yeah, a lot of people say it's the best out of the two so far. God, a lot of requests. What, guys? No requests. Let's see. Requests. Like requests are like swipe left on Tinder. Yeah, that's a great. Yeah, that was one of my favorite episodes. Doing that, looking back. Wow, there's a lot of people just flooding the request chart. Holy. Okay, so I'm just gonna go down to the very bottom. Wow, lot of that. Okay. With Kikyo past training and the warrior. Okay, this is interesting. She doesn't want. With Kikyo and the past training with the warrior, did she train under him and grow stronger? What is the relationship with him and where it goes with 18? Okay, so this is a good question. I think I'm going to actually leave the questions from here because this is going to kind of lead into part 3. So a lot of people are wondering about that stuff. So the stuff in the montage where my character is sword training with Kikyo is actually flashbacks to, if you watch part 1, you notice the first world he goes to is the Inuyasha universe, but just a little bit of a context of what happens, because this is going back to a story I wrote, again, about 10, 15 years ago, that my character had basically traveled to that time period, to that universe. And unfortunately, he was set back 100 years before the events of the show took place, which means 100 to 200 years before the show took place, which means he was there during the Battle of Hyuga in film 1 of the first Inuyasha movie. So we're setting up that this character, in terms of the way fictional universe travel works, is that when you go through it, you're essentially in a immortal state of being. You can die, but you never age. So it's very like Benjamin Button-ish, where when you come back, you're still the same person. You're just a little older. And but you never age. You're like in a time pause, essentially, whenever you go through multiverse travel. So the fact that he had pretty much stayed the same age for like 200 years, then met Kikyo, then trained her, and then took off, and then the events of the show happened, is sort of what we're going for. In regards to the relationship with 18 and how the people are asking about that. Like, people are always wondering, how many girls is this guy dating? That's the one question I can't answer. And this is something I can kind of confirm about my character, is that you could say my character is very polyamorous. If you don't know what polyamorous means, look that up. Basically, the guy doesn't want to really settle down really much, because the only reason he won't, yes, him and 18 are sort of the main couple right now, but the reason he can't settle down is because there are too many. It's like Spider-Man. Too many enemies, they could become a danger. They could become hazardous. They could become a problem and a weakness for him, and he doesn't want his enemies to find out. He's very protective of that. He's very secretive of that. He doesn't want these women getting hurt. These people that he legitimately cares about, not just the women, just his friends. He doesn't want them getting hurt. So he's very protective of that. And I will admit, this will lead into some drama elements in part 3 that do come to play in the future. They will have drastic consequences, and there is some character conflict within that struggle. So part 3 will definitely be kind of bringing these relationships sort of bridged, but you'll see it and it'll be a very interesting way. It'll be unexpected. And on top of that, it'll be kind of cool. I think you guys are really going to see where you're going to like where the story goes in part 3. So I think that's a great question to end on, is that you guys get a little tip of what the storyline is going to be for the third part. And I do appreciate you all coming in, because we got a lot of people on this live stream. Thank you so much. We got so many people on this one. But in terms of storylines, that's what's happening. Part 3 is right now, we're just in the middle of visual effects. I'm working hard on it. I haven't even gotten the review portion done. I'm just more focused. Main thing is effects first, sequences first, then the review, which is easy street. Once I get these effects and everything done, the rest of it will be pretty easy to assemble and put together. But I am so excited. I am so looking forward to showing you guys the climax of the last 10 years and where it's going to lead, where it's going to go going forward. There's some pretty cool stuff. This is sort of the same kind of hype I'm having for like the Flash movie, which I'm really excited for. Now we know it's pretty much Batman 3. And maybe at some point I might even cover the Flash. I've thought about that because the fact that it's a third Michael Keaton Batman movie is enough for me to say I might cover this. I want to go see this. But yeah, it's one of those things where I'm considering it. I'm looking forward to what part 3 is going to entail, what's going to happen, not just in the review, what my final thoughts on the film are, but just where the characters are going to go, what events are going to unfold in part 3. There's a lot happening. It's a monster. This will be almost a 2-hour epic and there's a lot going on in part 3. And without saying anything, I'm excited. I'm really excited to see where this goes from here, and what to share it with you guys. This is something I've been working on for a long time, and I just appreciate all of you guys sending so much positive support, actually saying you love the story, you love the elements, and it's working so well. So thank you guys so much. Again, support us on Patreon. Just $1 more, we'll get you early access to all of our content as well as other special features. Please, do a premium subscription if you want. That helps the channel as well. Super chats, anything to help us out. Gratefully appreciated. But you guys have been absolutely incredible. There are no words to describe the appreciation I have for you guys. And by the way, we're getting close to 20,000 subscribers. That's a milestone. That's incredible. So this is where I'm going to call it, guys. Thank you guys so much. I'm going to try to do another live stream next week and be more back to basics, because with part 3 is when we're going to do another Q&A like this. But I think I'm going to go back to basically basic live streams next week, because I am trying to get back on a weekly schedule and balance it out with part 3 and my job and this and that. But I appreciate it so much. I can't keep talking because my throat's sore. So until the next video, like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys later. This is BigJackFilms signing off, saying tune in soon. There's going to be a tribute to Raquel Welch. And I will see you guys in part 3. Shit's just getting started. Anyway, see you guys later. Good night. Take it easy.